I've been telling you for a long time that buying real estate for citizenship by investment programs is almost always a bad deal, and today I'm going to go into more detail. So let me be clear what I mean on buying real estate for a citizenship by investment program. Generally speaking, most citizenship by investment programs that our clients do are in the Caribbean. So Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Dominica, Grenada. These are the 5 programs. And these countries have what are called donation-based programs where you write them a check, $100,000, $130,000, $150,000, $200,000, plus all the due diligence, legal, bank, all the different fees on top of that. You get a citizenship in a matter of months. What they also developed was these kind of real estate programs where you can buy real estate for a greater amount. So let's say the donation is $130,000, maybe you can buy $220,000 in real estate. And you can hold that real estate for 5 years or 7 years, or maybe you can hold it for less time, or you can invest less if you do it with somebody else. And then so some company that sells citizenships and gives you a beautiful book of beaches to pick from, they say, oh, we've got, this guy in Lebanon who's also buying citizenship. You guys can go in together, and then maybe it's a little bit less. And so I've always had concerns about these for a number of reasons. The first reason is you have seen some discounting of the more expensive real estate programs in the Caribbean in recent years. And so let's say you got into St. Kitts and Nevis years ago and you invested $400,000 in real estate, and now the minimum is $200,000. Who's going to buy that $400,000 real estate that you had? Now, not every citizenship program has the same rules in terms of how you can resell the property, to who you can resell the property. Can it be obtained by another citizenship investor? But let's just assume the best on that. If you have a property at $400,000, who's going to want to buy that when they can buy something else for $200,000? The government controls that market. The other issue is, what's the quality of the kind of property that you are getting? Generally speaking, for the minimum investment amounts, you are getting some kind of hotel room. You are getting some kind of timeshare. You're getting some kind of share in some business. In some cases, it may just be you own a percentage of a hotel project. You're a 0.5% owner of a new hotel going up on one of the islands. What exactly do you own that you can go and use? And so people have this misconception, oh, I don't want to be stupid and make a donation when I can go out and buy real estate. And then they'll tell me, oh, I'm going to go and live in my real estate. Well, no, you're not, because in the best case scenario, what you'll see mostly is they will give you 7 days or 14 days per year, either in the property where you're buying in, or there'll be some related property that they already have open because your property that you invested in is being built, and you can stay in that other property. Generally speaking, and particularly for the lower amounts, you are not going to get into a property where you just go in and move in. I mean, think about it. These properties are being built. First of all, the commissions are extremely high. $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. We see those kinds of commissions being paid out. We get offers all the time. Hey, do you want to make $30,000 selling to your customers? No, because I have an obligation to serve my customers and not take $30,000 behind their back. That's why they pay me a fee, is to serve their interests, right? And so when you see some of these discount companies, maybe that's how, not all of them, but maybe that's how some of them offer this kind of discount services, because they're making money. Your $200,000 investment, you're going to sell it later for whatever you can get for it because it was so laden with commissions. So these properties aren't really worth what they're selling for, because they're what's called approved real estate. You cannot simply go to most of the islands. St. Kitts and Nevis has been a bit more innovative on this, and they've made it a bit more straightforward to get approval for the approved program. But generally speaking, you've got a limited number of approved programs. You cannot go on the open market. They don't want people coming in and getting citizenship by buying properties and competing with the locals. They want you buying stuff that's kind of in the international zone. You're going to come, you're going to make a very mediocre investment. Maybe the hotelier will pay you a 1, 2, 3, 4% return. Generally speaking, when there's a guaranteed return involved in any kind of international property, how does it work? They just bake it into the price. A $180,000 property that's going to pay you $20,000 over the 3-year guarantee period suddenly becomes a $200,000 property. Who's regulating these? Really nobody. And so I don't like them because, number one, you're going to have a hard time liquidating them. Number two, they're so laden with commissions in many cases that you're going to, it's not really worth what you're paying for it. You don't really get any use out of the property. And so I think people generally kind of misunderstand what they're getting into. And when you look at the opportunity cost, if I want to invest, again, let's just for sake of example, $200,000 for the next 7 years versus donating $100,000. By the way, in many cases, you're going to have to pay a government processing fee on top of your investment because the government still wants to get money to process your application. So you're not even saving that entire delta. In this case, it's $100,000, kind of a hypothetical number. Maybe you're going to save $70,000. And so are you going to put out, $200,000 in investment capital versus $100,000 in donation, which is really only a $70,000 donation because the 200 has the extra 30 on top of it? Are you going to put that out for 5 or 7 years, knowing that property is probably going to be sold for less in the future, no matter what they tell you, knowing that, okay, maybe you make a few bucks in some kind of income, but by the time you calculate the opportunity cost, you could put your money pretty much anywhere. You could put your money in a bank in US dollars in an emerging country and probably make a higher rate of return just keeping your money in that bank than storing it in there. And by the way, if you're already getting a second citizenship, why wouldn't you get a bank in a foreign country where you can get 4 or 5% on your US dollars? Why wouldn't you diversify like that? That would be a better place to put your money, let alone reinvesting it in your business, putting it into more Bitcoin or more stocks or whatever it is that you like to put your money in. And so I got a guy who asked a question recently. He said, if I bought a $20,000 apartment on St. Kitts, what rights would that give you, considering that the total is shy of their $150,000 required for the passport path? Well, first of all, in St. Kitts and Nevis, the $150,000 is a donation. The real estate investment is higher. You need to go in and buy a property that's on the approved list. There ain't nothing for 20 grand on the approved list. I don't know what there is for 20 grand anywhere in St. Kitts and Nevis. These islands are not really as cheap. Think about it. If you want to build something on an island in the Caribbean, stuff needs to be shipped in. This is not like the Caribbean coast of Mexico or Colombia where they can kind of bring stuff in by road from the capital. Everything comes in on ships. So you've got, higher costs, greater logistical issues. I don't know what you're getting for 20 grand anywhere, but not only would 20 grand not really be in the approved list for any of these programs, but you're going to want to buy that one property that gets you the citizenship. So buying an apartment in St. Kitts and Nevis gets you absolutely nothing when it comes to citizenship. It just doesn't solve your problem. And remember, you don't get to make this property your home because unless you're going to invest substantially more, you're going to get something that's probably a share of some other project. Now, there has been precisely, as I can recall, one time when I recommended to one of our clients, hey, maybe you want to buy a property, and there are some of the islands in the Caribbean where you can get citizenship. In that particular case, it might have been twice, where the person was pretty serious about it. We were looking at properties, and I've maybe mentioned it anecdotally to others who weren't so serious. But the idea was, you might have the occasional person who sells villas. A guy comes in, he's going to build 8 seaside villas. And he says, you know what, these villas are so luxurious, they're $3 million each. The kind of person who's going to want to buy these would like to have a citizenship anyway, so I will go through the hassles of registering my projects, these 8 villas, for the citizenship program. So therefore, when you buy it, hey, $3 million is a heck of a lot higher than 200 or 300 or 400 grand, and then you can get the citizenship. But you're kind of buying a regular property, not a share. We're talking about a couple of $1 million in some cases. Maybe there's some villas that are kind of small, where it's kind of the upper 6 figures. There's different numbers, but I think to really kind of get the bang for your buck, you probably want to be in the low 7 figures and up. So that could be an area where I'd say, all right, fine, that's doable. But generally speaking, the mass marketed stuff that you see, I'm not saying all the people are bad people. I do think that a lot of the projects, again, heavily laden with commissions, heavily over-marketed. Just not in your advantage. They pitch you on, oh, you're buying real estate. This is not real estate like other real estate, period, end of story. And again, I don't care about guaranteed return. We see that deal everywhere in the world. They take your money and they give it back to you. They just overcharge you. Hey, here's your money back. You made 3% a year. By the way, can't you make 3% a year somewhere else if you have the money to buy citizenship and the need to buy citizenship? Here's the other issue. People sometimes say, oh, but Andrew, I'm in Dubai as one of the culprits. All these kind of upstart citizenship companies, what do? They find islands. St. Kitts and Nevis, for example, has a ton of real estate projects, and they're really trying to clean this up. But they have a ton of real estate projects where historically, sometimes people will say, I'm going to build a project, and then the project never gets built. Why? That was the intention. Because what they wanted to do was, hey, you give us the 200, and rather than giving the commission to some salesperson, we'll do a deal with you where we'll kind of funnel back a bunch of money because we know we're never going to build this project, and you'll actually donate less than the donation because you're basically donating. You know you're never going to get property, but don't worry, we'll take your property investment, which is larger, and then we'll just kind of kick you back a sales commission under the table. Now, can that work? I guess in some cases it has. Myself and other industry insiders believe that eventually it's going to come to light. I've heard stories that There are people who are really trying to crack down on this. And are they going to go back and say, hey, you didn't follow the rules? You've already seen circulars from some of the Caribbean programs of the year saying illegal discounting is going to get the agent in trouble, and who knows what could happen to the people who get the citizenship. Why would you want to donate money only to be told later you didn't follow the correct steps, you engaged in some kind of unscrupulous activity, and we're canceling your citizenship because you didn't do it right? In the same way that someone comes to the United States and then lies on their naturalization application, they could be denaturalized. Your citizenship could, in theory, be taken from you if you didn't play by the rules. And so to have a property that, in that case, obviously you don't have a property to live in, why would you want to risk your citizenship, right? I believe in doing it by the book. After all, I am the goody two-shoes at the offshore business. We follow things by the book, and that means sometimes paying a little bit extra money. I much prefer the donation options in all of the Caribbean countries because you know what you're getting. You don't cling on to these false hopes for years of, we're going to sell this share in some hotel. There's lots of hotels going up everywhere. If you want to buy a lifestyle property in Montenegro, if you want to buy for Turkey's citizenship program on the coast in the south of Turkey, and because you want to live there, great. Understand that they can keep churning out beachfront property. There's so many empty beaches around the world that can have property built on it. You're always going to have more and more competition. Beachfront's a lifestyle. I think the Caribbean is no different. But in this case, this approved real estate is just a bad deal overall. When you think, oh, but because I have a home there, now I get a tax incentive. No, you don't. You need to generally live there. You need to go through one of the programs. And so here's the exception. If you go to Turkey, Turkey does not have an approved real estate scheme. Turkey's citizenship by investment is different. There's a number of caveats to what you need to invest, but generally speaking, the new number is going to be $400,000 in real estate. You can sell it after 3 years. Now, it needs to be appraised, and there's the lira, and there's a couple different things you've got to deal with. But let's just call it $400,000. You can buy anything that you want. You can buy overpriced condos, double them up, triple them up, stack them up, buy 1, 2, 3, 4, buy one, whatever. As long as it meets that $400,000, as long as you close it in a certain manner, you're in good shape. What I've always suggested in Turkey is if you have access to the whole market, go in the resale market, which is extremely squeezed right now because so many people are putting their money into hard assets. People in Turkey are putting their money into hard assets in international areas because it keeps track with the dollar much more, right? The lira goes down by half, their property value in lira may double, and they can get rent from that. People are coming in from the Arab world. They want to be in Turkey. They want to get the citizenship. Now Russians are coming in because the Turkey program is still open to them. And so you have this incredible demand on resale property. There's not a lot out there. But if you can find, this is what we help our clients do. We help them find good resale properties, which is exactly what I did when I bought a home in Istanbul. I bought a resale property where no one's making a fat commission because a lot of the properties in Turkey, same deal. Cyprus was the same deal when they did a citizenship program. This industry is ripe with, again, 10 to 25% commissions. Is that a good investment? No. But if you buy a property in Turkey on the resale market where someone's just getting a transparent 2% commission, and you may be, depending on how you negotiate, you may be the one paying that 2% commission on to each side or one side or whatever, then you can get a good deal on a resale property, again, in line with where the market is. Right now the market is a seller's market, but there are some deals out there, and in Turkey, prices in a global perspective are still relatively affordable. That's the market, and people have been confused. Oh, you said don't buy real estate for citizenship. No. I said don't buy approved real estate. I'm generally speaking to the Caribbean. If you want to go to Turkey, don't buy real estate in some kind of glamorous apartment building with a woman with cleavage in an evening gown looking out the window, what every real estate developer everywhere on planet Earth uses to sell apartments that are overpriced to begin with, and then because there's a citizenship program, they kick back 15% to some guy like me. I don't take part with those guys because I don't want my clients to lose 15% right off the bat. But that's what they do. And some of the schemes are really terrible, quite frankly. But if you're doing it properly, if you're going to have access to all the properties, don't buy the woman with the evening gown. Buy the one where you can just buy in the open market like a normal real estate buyer. Other programs that aren't direct citizenship programs, like Portugal, you're getting a golden visa if you want to buy property there. Again, some of the commission issues are not quite as bad, but they do exist. Real estate is much more difficult now. There is a certain kind of artificial pricing when you're buying at the minimum level, but again, you've got access to the entire market. It's just kind of a market pricing issue more than a approval issue, approved real estate issue. So Portugal doesn't have a citizenship program. That's a residence program that can lead to citizenship. So for the direct citizenship programs where you're getting a passport in 6 months, generally I don't buy real estate in the Caribbean unless I'm spending millions of dollars and I really want to live there, or unless I'm doing the Turkish program and then I'm doing a very thorough process that we've worked together with Turkish speakers and local agents to develop over the years based on what actually works to get you a good deal, and I'm not buying from developers. Those are the only conditions where I buy real estate to get direct citizenship programs in my hand, passport in a matter of months.